Hey guys, welcome back to another fitness video. I'm Louie, your PTRP for today, and I'll be giving you a push workout that'll help you beginners gain strength and muscle mass efficiently. Before we start this video, shout out to my friend Bien Bukod on our previous fitness video. Hope you're doing well today. Now, let's get right into it. For beginners who are not aware of what a push workout is, it is essentially a routine where you pick specific exercises that make you perform the pushing movement. And a push routine mainly targets three muscle groups: the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps. Since these three muscles are the main structures that perform the pushing movement. Now, in this video, I will divide this into three segments targeting the chest, deltoid, and triceps separately. Now, we'll start with the biggest muscle in our body, the chest. Now, in every workout session, you always want to start with the heavy compound lifts first. So our first exercise in this routine is the bench press. This exercise is a staple in every chest or push routine and should not be neglected in being performed. Now, since I made this video targeting the beginners who are just starting out in lifting, I recommend that you perform this exercise for at least 12 to 15 reps each set for 3 sets. This is so you can have your body familiarized with the movement of this exercise. And once your body is already familiarized with this exercise, you can add weight so that you can only perform 8 to 10 reps per set. Now, for the main tips that will help you perform this exercise correctly is as follows. Tip number 1. Always have the bar at eye level before you start. This will give you allowance when you're going to lift the bar up and down to your chest, helping you avoid hitting the rack and be in an optimal position when putting it back up. Tip number 2. Lower the bar until it touches your chest around the nipple area. This ensures that you're optimally hitting your pecs muscle and hitting it in its full range of motion. Lowering the bar above the nipple line will cause you to overcompensate using your triceps. Lowering the bar below the nipple line will make you overcompensate using your shoulders. Overcompensating with your shoulders or triceps will lead to an increased risk of shoulder or elbow injury. So always remember to lower the bar on the nipple area or nipple line. Tip number 3. Retract your back before you lie down. This maneuver will help you make sure that the majority of the work you're doing this exercise will be performed by the chest, because performing the bench press in a slightly slouched position while lying down will make you overcompensate with the shoulders, also leading to increased risk of shoulder injury. Tip number 4. Don't stick your elbows too close to the body and not too far out. Flaring out your elbows like this while doing the bench press will lead to an increased risk of rotator cuff impingement, or worse, a rotator cuff tear. And you don't want to tear your rotator cuff since that is an essential muscle group that is basically the lifeline of your shoulder. Putting your elbows too close, however, will make you overcompensate with both the shoulders and the triceps. So always angle your elbows at about 60 to 75 degrees to optimally hit your chest and avoid any complications or injuries regarding your shoulders or your elbows. A few more tips, especially for you beginners who are just starting out. It's perfectly normal that you are able to progress the amount of weights you're using in this exercise or in any exercise for that matter quickly. And it is also perfectly normal that you are slowing down, especially when you're nearing the 3 digits. So what you can do to progress is you should achieve a rep range of 8 to 10 per set before adding more weight to the bar. So for example, I'm currently stuck with 120 pounds in my bench press for 5 reps. So my main goal for now is to be able to perform 10 reps on the bench press using 120 pounds. Next exercise will be a dumbbell press. Now, I recommend performing this using 50% of your current bench press weight. So if you used 100 pounds in the bench press, you'll perform this using 50 pounds, 25 pounds on each side, and perform it for 10 to 15 reps for 3 sets. Now, for the beginners who are just starting out, it is perfectly okay that you only perform this exercise. But as you progress, what you can do is you can perform a drop set by simply dropping one dumbbell and performing a single dumbbell press. So by now, you're only pressing 25% of your current bench press. But believe me, the burn you're gonna feel while doing this exercise is like you're benching near 100% of your bench press. For the beginners, A drop set is a type of technique that you use for hypertrophy by performing a single exercise and repping out until you fail, or in other words, until you can perform another rep. Then decreasing the weight by at least 20% and then repping out until you fail. And you do this for a minimum of 2 times. But in this case, we'll be only doing it 1 time, since the drop set is typically performed in isolation exercises. This is a great technique to utilize if your main goal in mind is increasing your muscle mass in that specific muscle. Now, those are the exercises for your chest. We move on now to the shoulders. Now, for this muscle group, we are only performing 2 main exercises, mainly the military press and the lateral raises. Now, the military press, same as the bench press, will serve as our strengthening exercise. Now, to correctly and efficiently perform this exercise, always keep in mind to have your elbows in the scapular plane, meaning you don't want your elbows pointed to the side. You'd want it pointing slightly forward. That is the scapular plane. For a brief explanation on why this exists is because of the angulation of our glenoid fossa. The glenoid fossa is a structure in our shoulder that houses our humeral head, or the head of our arm bone, called the humerus. So when performing the military press, I want you to be able to perform at least 5 strict reps without using any momentum or whatsoever. And when you can't perform any more strict reps, what you can do is transition into the push press, whereby you're using your legs to gain momentum to be able to lift the bar up. But always remember, when performing the push press, you should slow down the descent of the bar more than usual, at least 3 to 5 seconds before it reaches your neck. This is to increase your time under tension on the shoulder muscles, thereby increasing the strength you gain in this exercise, since the eccentric portion of any exercise is the one that helps you increase your strength in the muscle. Now, our next exercise is the lateral raise. For beginners, you can treat this as a separate exercise from the military press. But as you progress, I want you to perform it as a superset. Superset is similar to the drop set, but the main difference is you utilize 2 different exercises that either supplement or complement each other. Now, by performing the military press first before the lateral raise, our shoulders is already fatigued. That's why we use lighter weights in this exercise. As you can see, I'm only using 5-pound dumbbells in this exercise because my shoulders are already burning at this point because of the military press. Now, for the military press into the push press, I want you to be able to perform at least 8 to 12 reps. Then for the lateral raises, I want you to be able to perform 10 to 15 reps for beginners, or for those who are using it as a superset now, perform at least 7 to 12 reps for 3 sets. Now, tips with performing the lateral raises. Tip number 1, avoid using your trapezius in conjunction with this exercise. Most beginners are not aware that they are using their trapezius muscle when performing the lateral raises. To be able to isolate the deltoid muscles efficiently, what you want to do is pull down your shoulders. Then as you're pulling down your shoulders, that's when you raise your arms at the side. Tip number 2, face your palm to the front. Now, I've seen many bodybuilding coaches saying that you should point your thumb down when performing these lateral raises, since you isolate the lateral deltoids more efficiently in this form. But from a physical therapy standpoint, we want to avoid internal rotation of the shoulders when doing this, since you have an increased risk of shoulder and rotator cuff impingement when performing that exercise in this manner. But again, I'm a physical therapist, not a bodybuilding coach. So it's up to you to decide on whether you perform the lateral raises with the thumb down rather than the thumb up. Tip number 3, use light weights on this exercise. Since our main goal is hypertrophy, we want to isolate the work to the shoulders as much as possible using lighter weights, and should be done in a controlled and strict form, without the use of any cheating or whatsoever. Tip number 4, bend your elbows slightly. We'd want to avoid fully extending our elbows when performing the lateral raises, since we are putting unnecessary load to our lateral collateral ligament, or the LCL in our elbows, located here. Since our LCL is responsible in securing our elbows together with the MCL, or medial collateral ligament, found in the medial side of our elbow. Now, that's the exercise for the shoulders. Let's move on to the triceps. Now, remember that our triceps has 3 heads. mainly the long head, the lateral head, and the medial head. And to be able to efficiently and correctly load the long head, we will be doing the exercise called the skull crushers, or in its longer term, the lying overhead tricep extension. Yeah, that's long. Now in this exercise, you'd want to start with light weights, same as any other exercise when you're starting out, to have your body familiarize itself with the movement. So when performing the standard skull crushers, you normally end up with the bar right in your face when lowering it down. The problem with this is that you lose all the tension in the triceps when you're at the peak. So to make this exercise more effective, we want to let our arms drift slightly above our heads, thereby eliminating the lack of resistance at the peak and having gravity pull the weight down even in our fully extended elbow position, forcing your triceps to be in constant tension, thereby increasing your time under tension in the triceps due to the fact that your triceps want to stabilize the weight. Now, tips when performing skull crushers. Using easy bar is preferred. I prefer using the easy curl bar when performing this rather than the straight bar, since it solves the problem of our limitations in the wrist, since our wrist cannot fully extend without deviating radially or towards the radial bone. Now, if you don't have an easy curl bar at home, you can opt to use doubles instead when performing this exercise. In front of the head for beginners, on top of the head for intermediates, and behind the head for experts. For me, I want you to be able to lower the weight until it is behind your head. Now for the beginners who are just starting out, you can start by performing the skull crushers and lowering it in front of your head. Then you progress the exercise until you can lower the bar until it's behind your head before adding weights. Avoid flaring out your elbows. In this exercise, we want to put all the work on our triceps. If you flare out your elbows while doing this exercise, you will put unnecessary load in our MCL, or our medial collateral ligament in our elbows. Now for the last exercise, we will be doing tricep kickbacks. This exercise is meant to be done with light weight, since our main goal for this is to be able to contract our medial and lateral head efficiently while leaving out the long head. Now for the beginners, especially the beginners, I have to say that when performing this, you're going to feel like someone is pinching your triceps so hard in each rep. But you have to believe me on this, that what you're feeling is perfectly normal, since your triceps has not yet adapted to that kind of movement. And if you feel some kind of pinching at the back of your shoulders, it is also perfectly normal, since that is your long head of the triceps trying frantically to contract, but can't, since it is already in active insufficiency, given that it is a two-jointed muscle. Now for the beginners, this exercise is enough for you as the last exercise. But as you progress, you can also perform a superset by performing a single tricep pull down using bands, or if you have cables available. There we have it, guys, a complete push routine to help you beginners get an idea on how you structure your PPL programs correctly. Remember, when you're starting out, you can perform this kind of program once a week, once for push, once for pull, and once for legs. And as you progress, you can perform each routine twice a week to be able to maximize both strength and muscle mass in the gym. If this video helped you, click like and subscribe to Gags and Geeks, as this will help us tremendously. If you have any questions or any suggestions for our content, comment below. And if you want to chat me up, our Discord is in the description below. Geek out!